Hi, I'm Parker.
And I'm Tim.
And this is the Rage Podcast, where today we're going to talk about our new national federal holiday.
Our newest federal holiday to add to the list. Number 11 it is. And that would be the celebration of Juneteenth. And it's the celebration of the end of slavery. And Parker and I had a conversation before we started videoing about, where this idea came from. And I guess the first thing I want to say is the official end of slavery, as far as the way the government would see it, would have been the ratification of the Emancipation Proclamation signed in by Abraham Lincoln. And so my first thought because honestly, I'm going to be honest with you, I'd never heard of this holiday before a couple months ago.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of it before. Being here in Ohio, it wasn't something that because it's kind of a southern holiday, which is fine. But it seems to me like the Emancipation Proclamation is what we would want to celebrate. Unfortunately, the day that the Emancipation Proclamation went into effect is also already a holiday,
yes,
known as January 1st.
Yeah.
So understanding that we can't have two holidays on the same day, I completely get that. So, if we had to pick a second one, June 19th sounds good to me.
But now there's a reason as to why it was June 19th.
Right.
So,
right.
So June 19th was the official last day of in the nation of America us having slaves. The last final slaves were released June 19th.
Yeah, this is when the federal troops, enough Union Army
yes.
troops, landed in Texas to be able to say and enforce, because you got to have both to
yes.
make it work. The idea that slavery was no more, and June 19th, 1865, was the day that took place. And let's be honest, and again, Parker and I were talking about this before we started filming today. If you take the beginning of the United States as we know it today as being July the 4th, 1776, take that ahead to June 19th, 1865, when it was all wiped out. It's like 85 years.
Yeah.
So in 85 years, and I know things in the Americas was happening prior to us becoming a nation, but in 85 years we went from pretty much you could do whatever you could do to federally outlawing slavery. Unprecedented.
Yes.
It's an unprecedented act to be able to pull that off in 100 years. And my hat's off to all the brave women and men who were a part of that fight to make that happen back in the mid 1800s, because it wouldn't happen we could still be there today if not for people like Abraham Lincoln and all those folks putting their foot down saying, nope, we're done.
My question is is the only thing that makes a federal holiday is that government doesn't work that day? Because I'm when I think of some other federal holidays, I'm still going to school on those days and everything, but so what makes the importance of a federal holiday?
That's a really good question.
Is it just okay, the banks are closed?
Yeah.
But what?
Basically,
what?
Yeah, nothing's functioning. Yeah.
So I guess that popped into my mind is what makes a federal holiday something to really bring home about?
Right. Because and Parker's will talk about this in a little bit. Juneteenth is the 11th. I mentioned that. The other 10. Some of them on the list are pretty major ones that you recognize. Some of them, even Parker and I were like, I didn't even know that was a holiday. And some of those things. So it's interesting. I think what it is a day of observance. It's a day of remembering.
Yeah.
And look, you could get on websites and find out every single day of the 365 days of the year is commemorating something, or at least multiple things.
National pink-colored sock day.
Yeah, National Yo-Yo Day and all kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But we as a society, we as a nation have decided, okay, here are some ones that we find to be very special.
Mm-hmm.
Here's ones that we think are significant and for different reasons. But as a nation, we have decided that these things are worthy of our taking a moment to remember, to commemorate.
Because it was like you mentioned earlier, it was a great, it was
Absolutely.
a success. We finally, 88 years?
85.
Right? 85 years. And there's no longer slaves in the United States.
Yeah.
That is.
There's still slaves in the world today.
Yeah.
They still exist. And for us to outlaw it in 85 years, again, I wish it would have not taken. I wish it would never have existed in the first place. But the fact that it did, because there are evil people everywhere doing evil things, and that's certainly an example. In 85 years, for the good guys to stand up and say, no, we're not doing this. I think hats off.
No, yeah, it's definitely something to,
yeah. And it's certainly worthy of a national holiday. I actually agree with this.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not opposed to this in any way. And I think it's something that we all need to be reminded of. And again, like I said, I only ever heard of the holiday Juneteenth earlier this year. But I think it's a great thing to commemorate because it's something as a country we can all come together and celebrate.
Now, me being my conspiracy theorist self, I have one concern.
All right, Parker.
So we celebrate Independence Day, you know, the nation's founding and everything like that. My biggest fear is that some people might take this new holiday. I feel like, and I'm gonna sound crazy here, somebody is trying to form a larger divide than maybe what we would want.
Yes.
So we have, July 4th, nation, we're free, we're our own nation and everything, the forming, and then we have Juneteenth. And I can see some people wanting to take this new holiday and kind of make a divide of two independent days.
Right.
Independence days.
Yeah, the July the 4th is the date that freedom was declared, and then June 19th is the date that freedom was true for everyone. And look, we Parker and I are to be the first two to tell you, on July 5th, 1776, the United States wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
And even on June 19th, 1865, it may have gotten closer, but it still wasn't there. And even in this day and age, it's still not there. But so we recognize that. But even though it took us 85 years to realize the kind of freedom that should have been there for everyone at the beginning, and again, that's 2020 guy talking here. But as we look back into the history, the world was a different place back in the 1700s and 1800s. Yeah. And some of the things that we look at today as absolutely abhorrent, and just think, how in the world was just a way of life back then.
But yeah, you have to. And it's always important when you look and things like that too. Obviously, you have to really change your lenses. We live in a day and age where certain things back then, absolutely unacceptable. Yeah. However, back then, it was like there was no better. It was that's all they knew. It's what they did. Obviously, it's not, to our eyes very bad. To theirs.
Yeah, and again, credit to the people who are working this direction. That to us it does sound abhorrent. That it's a credit to their work for showing us how abhorrent it was. That we here today would go, I wouldn't tolerate that for 1 second ever again, ever.
And then if you really want to go into the past, it's those people that worked to maybe even say, let's say, in the end of slavery. Those people who worked towards that obviously did things that weren't acceptable in today's times as well. So I think that's very important always when we look at things in the past. Yeah,
and I don't want to get off on the weeds in this, but a generation from now, they're going to look back at 2021, and we're going to be doing things that they found to be abhorrent.
Yes.
And I don't want to get into what any of those can be. We can certainly speculate, but there are things going on in the world today that they're going to look back and be like, how did those guys in 2021 put up with these things?
Yeah.
And because things change over time, the way we think about things change over time, and the only way it changes for the better is if we work toward the better and remember the good. And I think that's what this holiday can certainly be, as long as you don't go the direction you're saying, because I completely agree with you. But I think if we could take it for what it is and understand how important that is, that we're growing and we're seeing people as people, because that's what all people are. That's how we grow, and that when we get to today where we look back and think, how in the world did they ever do that or think that was okay?
So yeah, definitely is a holiday to celebrate and remember upon, but be leery a little bit.
Add to, not replace. Add to our list of holidays. Add to our remembrances and celebrations, not replace.
And I didn't even see any real media coverage over this. Like I heard about it became a federal holiday, but I haven't seen anything. Like,
well, it'd be interesting in like this year it was kind of
spur of the own.
Yeah, I saw something like, oh my word, today's June 19th. Let's sign this. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens in 2022. Next year when the state starts coming around.
So it'll be
if corporations will be off work, if banks will be closed, if the mail will run and that kind. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, so that's something to look.
Yeah, something to look at, and again, the last federal holiday that was added, Ronald Reagan added Martin Luther King Day back in 1983, and and that had a reason, and it's kind of been, it's grown into our national framework and things, and. It's just a nice thing to have, and it's certainly a great man to remember. So I think in order to take a look at some of these issues and some of the people and events that we as a country have decided are important enough to commemorate, we're going to take a look at that list of holidays and review them a little bit. We're going to do that next level with Parker.
I have here a list of our other federal holidays for our nation. The first one is on January 1st, New Year's Day. Then we have Martin Luther King Day. Then we have Washington's birthday. Then we have Memorial Day and Independence Day and Labor Day, Columbus Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving Day, and Christmas Day. And all those holidays are to, celebrate or honor or something. Like, Labor Day. Labor Day is for the American workers, and Memorial Day is for, those who lost their lives to fight for our nation. And all of them have meaning and a purpose. And I think it's important that us as citizens of America, we know what those holidays are made for and what we celebrate with them.
Well, thanks for that, Parker. As we're wrapping up here today, and we got that great list of holidays, and the next one coming up is a big one. We're going to be shooting off some fireworks and having a good time. So what we want to leave you with is the importance of this list of holidays. Every one of them is important in its own way. I mean, they come from different time periods, and they exist for different purposes. But they're all there so that we as a nation can take a moment and pause and remember. So we hope that you'll do that. And we want to encourage everybody. We want to add to, not replace, the events that are on that list, because they're all there for their own reason, and none of them are taking the place of any of the rest of them. All of them are important. I mean, the founding of our country is just as important as the abolishment of slavery and the getting rid of that horrible institution. Mm-hmm. And we wouldn't want to give up either one of them. So we think they're both important.
Yes.
So anything more you want to say about that, Parker?
No, I think you really summed it up pretty good. It's an addition to those holidays. It's not going to replace any one of them. It's supposed to maybe be honored in the same way as many of the other ones.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Give us a chance to reflect.
Yeah.
So. All right, everybody. Well, whatever holiday you have coming up next, we hope that you enjoy it.
Hope you have fireworks.
Yeah, have fireworks. Because nothing beats fire. Nothing better than celebrating the independence of our country by blowing up a small part of it. You all remember I said that. And have a nice day.